I feel like you kind of done a little bit of everything in the wrestling business, and then you decided to start your own company. Talk to us about from the time you started leading up to Power Pro. Then take us through it, Randy.
As I said earlier, first job at 10 years old was something simple. It was to sell wrestlers' pictures, and the people that I sold them was first and foremost, my first one was Eddie Marlin, then Jerry Jarrett. You see there how I was getting in. Jerry Jarrett, the owner, and
Right.
Eddie Marlin, his son-in-law. I'm selling their pictures, and also Lawler's pictures and Dundee's pictures, and on and on and on. Then it just evolved from that. When I was a young kid, I sat at the timekeeper's desk, and it was my job to go to the babyface corner and get the wrestlers' jackets and take it back to the dressing room. The business was protected. You knock on the door, somebody would open the door, but not open it wide, just crack the door. You pass in the jacket. So I was the jacket carrier and the timekeeper at the matches. Then when I was 14 years old, I started ring announcing, then started doing simple office stuff like Eddie would call me with the Jonesboro newspaper ad, and I'd type it up and ride my bicycle, honest to God, to the newspaper office and put the newspaper ad in the newspaper. And that was my job. Then when I started driving, Eddie started having me come to Blytheville or going to Tupelo, Mississippi, or going to Union City, going to a lot of these towns. The first wrestling card, I just saw a poster that Eddie told me, he said, Randy, you can make yourself extra money if you found one of these schools around the area. I picked Tuckerman, Arkansas.
Wow.
Population 800 people. We drew 1,200. And the main event in 1985 was Jerry Lawler against Randy Savage. We drew the town. Then went to college, out of college. Then I started going to every town as the ring announcer. I was helping promote spot shows and that sort of thing. In 1986, Jerry Lawler and Jerry Jarrett, who took turns doing the booking, it was of course Lawler's time, and Lawler is not into details and wasn't going to all the towns, so he hired me as his assistant. I moved to Memphis, moved away from home for the first time, and got a place in Memphis, and I would go every day. He had an office behind his house, and I would be on that. And then a year later, Jarrett took back over, and I moved to Nashville. And by that time, I had the title of the assistant booker and assistant general manager. And then I went away because I got mad at Jerry Jarrett, and we won't get into that. In 1993, I came back and quickly became the general manager of the company. And because Jerry Jarrett wasn't involved by going to the towns, and he hadn't in several years, he had gone up to the WWF. So in March the 7th of 94, I came up with the Monday Night Memory idea. Jimmy Hart did the Monday Night Memory video.
Right.
And it was just great. And we had Monday Night Memories, and we went from less than 1,000 people the Monday before to this event that did almost 9,000 people. Big jump. And that within 2 weeks got me the booking job right there. And so it went from there. So that after the USWA sold, and that's a long story and a bad story, but after it sold and had new owners, Dave Brown didn't like what was going on. I didn't like what was going on. Corey Macklin didn't like what was going on. We just didn't like the new people in charge at all, who we felt didn't know anything about wrestling. And I thought in my mind, this ain't going to last long. It actually lasted a couple of months longer than I thought. That I'm thinking, this place is going to go to hell. And it damn sure not going to go to hell with me here, because after it goes to hell, already, I didn't have a name, but I said, already I'm thinking, as soon as they kill this place, I'll open it back up. That was the idea. And that's what happened. They went out of business. Channel 5 canceled them. I waited a few months. I got meetings with TV5. By that time, Burt Prentice had already taken over Nashville. Danny Davis had taken over Louisville. So the option to redo the entire territory wasn't an option. So we went with Memphis only, and that had advantages and disadvantages because at that point we weren't able to wrestle 6 times a week
Right.
most of the time. It was usually uh, every once in a while we throw in 6, but most of the time it was 4 to 5. With TV maybe 6, and it took place in April of 1998 was the debut show, and then Channel 5 had a news director that thinking big, and it was big enough to kill Power Pro Wrestling when our numbers were good, everything was good. But TV station makeups, they make all their money on a lot of their money on the news. That's
Right.
so profitable. And the spots for wrestling was high, but for news is unbelievable. Why do you think they have a 5 o'clock news, a 6 o'clock news, a 10 o'clock news, a 6 o'clock in the morning news, and a noon news? They
Right.
make money there. And she wanted to take the wrestling studio that had also used for Friday night football every once in a while to do a special, and Magic Land back in the day, and for the wrestling. But she wanted a state of art news studio, and I understand that. And so they were taking away that big studio where you can have a wrestling ring in it and 200 people. That was going away. And at the end of my contract cycle, which is 3 years, then they didn't renew it, and that was it.